Hi everyone, my name is Sophia Odaka, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite part of the brain. So I wanted to begin by asking you, what are you scared of? Is it shots? Is it snakes? Tight spaces? Heights? Storms? What are you most fearful of? Well, for me, I'm most scared of getting shots. I hate the needles. And sometimes I can't help but wonder, why am I so scared of this, but yet my friends, my family members, and my peers, they're not really scared of it. And this is where our amygdala comes into play. So you kind of guessed it, my favorite part of the brain is our amygdala, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about it. So where is it located? Our amygdala is located in our temporal lobes, and it is anterior, meaning in front of our hippocampus. It comes in a pair of two, and it is also a part of our limbic system. And our limbic system is comprised of brain structures that play a role in our emotional and motivated behavior as well as our learning. So what's its function? One of the functions is that it connects stimuli into emotional meaning, and this can be positive or negative. And it takes that stimuli in and sends that information to other brain structures in our limbic system and cerebral cortex. There's a lot of learning through our emotions, and emotions are mostly regarding fear, anxiety, and aggression. It processes these unexpected and unusual stimuli and also initiates arousal. So when I asked you at the beginning of my presentation what you were most scared of, that is our amygdala processing those fearful or threatening stimuli. So a little bit of history of our amygdala. The word amygdala comes from the Greek word amygdale, which means almond, and that describes its almond-like shape. And also Kluver and Busey, they did studies on rhesus monkeys, and these monkeys were initially very hard to handle. And so eventually they took out their temporal lobes, and it resulted in them having less intense emotions. So that kind of showed the amygdala's role in emotion. And they also created the Kluver and Busey syndrome. So what would happen if our amygdala were to be damaged? We would have a hard time recognizing and experiencing negative emotions, and we would also have difficulty processing faces. So here on the left is a eye tracking data on how we view faces. So on the far left is a healthy control, and the middle is someone who is identified by patient SM, and their amygdalas are damaged. And on the right is for someone on the autism spectrum disorder, and people on the autism spectrum disorder, they have abnormalities in their amygdalas. So you can kind of see the differences here. So who is patient SM? So patient SM was someone with Urbach-Wiethe disease, and this disease impacted their amygdala. More specifically, it damaged it. And they couldn't identify faces with emotions of fear or anger. And so when they were asked to draw pictures of the primary emotions, they could do all of them except for fear. And they were considered to be a fearless individual, as they were placed in very scary scenarios, and they weren't even fazed by it. So like going into a haunted house, going to an exotic animal shop, and touching all these really scary animals, and none of it bothered them. And here at the bottom is a graph of patient SM compared to healthy individuals when exposed to scary film clips. And for the healthy individuals, they had a very high amount of fear, whereas patient SM had a very low amount of fear. So why is the amygdala my favorite part of the brain? So I think it's interesting because we're all scared of something, but it's different based off the individual. So what I might find scary, you might not, and vice versa. And it's also kind of cool how strong emotions like fear, they can have a role in our memory and learning. And I also really enjoyed learning about patient SM because when I was little, I was scared of a lot of things. And for once, I wanted to be scared of nothing. So seeing that put in a real life situation was really intriguing. I also find it interesting learning about the amygdala as a whole and how it plays a role in our daily lives. So thank you so much for watching my presentation on my favorite part of the brain.